Hello everyone, my name is Winnie Chen and I am a registered dietitian, and today I'd like to share you some information about the menus. Menu is so important in the group home setting, and number one reason is that it's a requirement, it's a licensing requirement. So we do have to follow the menu, but it's also important to ask, why is the licensing requirement to be posted? Well, there's many reasons, because it promotes variety, it promotes balance, it also promotes better nutrition. So today I just want to provide you some overview about the menu. I also like to go over some pantry staples, and I also like to provide a sample of a menu and its shopping list. So let's go over it together. So the first thing what I'm going to do is to do a share screen on this handout that I have prepared for my group homes, and that's the menu compliance handout. So allow me to do a share screen right now. Okay, so what you are seeing right now in front of you is this group home menu guideline. So let's talk about some of the important points here. So number one, as I mentioned, that it's a requirement. If you don't follow the menu, you are out of the requirement. And again, I think the reason it's important to think about why the licensing require group home to have a menu is because it makes menu planning easier. It promotes balance, it promotes better nutrition, it helps the management stay in budget. It also actually help making the staff shopping a lot easier. Okay, so there's a couple things that you want to know about the menu here. Is that every menu has a page number where you can find the recipe. So when you have a menu, it's important that you also have the recipe that come with it. A very good example is enchilada. You can make enchilada from scratch. You can make it based on your mother's home recipe, or you can make enchilada based on the internet recipes, or most of the group home, they should have a group home recipe book. So the menu should also indicate the page number of the recipe that can be found in the cookbook. And also you want to remember that the menu is really designed to promote balance. So it should have protein, it should have starch, it should have fruit, vegetable, and the dairy food groups written on the menus. Recipes in the cookbook usually serve for 6 to 8 servings. But if you have a group home that's only like 3 or 4 people, when you are preparing the meal and looking at the recipe book, you should also make appropriate adjustment. One thing I also like to highlight is that when you have a menu, you should also have the shopping list that come with it. So make sure that you are shopping according to what's on the shopping list, and don't buy what is not necessary. Okay, and like I said, when the menu is supposed to make the step a lot easier. So if you look at the menu, tomorrow you have to make beef stew, and it's really good idea you take up the meat a day in advance to defrost it. So one thing that you want to remember about the menu is that it really promotes better nutrition. So a good menu should focus on low sugar, low fat, low sodium. It also should focus on what we call the 3 highs: high fiber, high fruit, high vegetable. And then again, when we say menu, it says like lasagna or meatball. It really meant that staff need to cook these from scratch. And if appropriate, let the client be involved. Obviously, in some home setting, it's not appropriate at all. But it's important to remember if the client can do something to help, such as stirring, press the button, or even setting up the table. It also helps them to install better eating behaviors. during the meal time, it's very important that you offer fluid to go with the meal. Well, I prefer water with a milk or milk alternates such as soy milk or almond milk. And you definitely want to avoid sugary beverages such as juice or such as Gatorade, such as soda. So when you wanted to serve the meal, be sure that you follow also the proper portions. So here there's some of the a quick summary of all the right portions here. So breakfast is typically very simple, and usually it consists of cereal, and then you can have a 1 ounce of protein. That could be egg. It could also be your cheese. And then you have a combination of fruits and vegetables. That could be, 1 cup of fresh or half cup of canned. And then the dairy could be your milk. It could also be your yogurt. Let's look at the lunch here. So lunch usually we consist of 4 ounces of meat, 3 to 4 ounces, and that's usually what we call a size of a deck of carbs. So when you imagine a deck of carb, that should be the amount of protein that you should provide. A lot of clients I work with, they are on a chopped diet or on a puree diet. So when I say 4 ounces of meat, it really meant the whole piece of chicken. So after you dice it, after you puree, it could go down as low as maybe half cup or even a quarter cup for puree meat. Grain, usually we say 2 ounces, and 2 ounces is really, it means 2 pieces of bread, or it's about half cup of pasta. Vegetable should be half to 1 cup. If your clients have impaired chewing abilities, then you want to make sure the vegetable is cooked, it's soft for them. Fruit is half cup for fresh, or you can do half cup for raw. Half cup for canned or half cup for juice. Again, you wanted to serve milk or water with it, and encourage clients to eat as slowly as possible. Dinner, very similar pattern like lunch. We like to give salad if appropriate. If a client has impaired chewing ability, then maybe you could just combine everything as hot vegetables. So that the client don't have to chew as much. And a snack, I always say that snack should be something that it complements the day. So snack should not be chips or cookies. Those are what we consider sometimes food. So if you a best snack choice is usually some kind of fruit, some kind of vegetables, and you can also complement that with yogurt, or you can complement that with some deli meat if you want. But again, fruits and vegetables should always be the priority. All right, so that's just a little synopsis of some of the basic menu guidelines. So I always say that the menu, it sets the blueprint. It's usually developed by the dietitians, and so it provides that general guideline. But once the guideline is set, it's a domino effect. Whoever does the shopping need to shop according to the list. And whoever does the meal preparation should always follow what's on the menu. So everything is domino effect. If the person who shop does not follow the menu and just shop according to his preferences, the person who's preparing the meal won't have the right ingredient to prepare what's on the menu. So everything is a domino effect. So what I wanted to go over right now is what I consider the basic pantry list. So these are the things that should be in the house most of the times. And then afterwards, we're going to go over an example of a week menu. So let's go over some of the general pantry lists that are not usually on the weekly shopping list, but that should be something that people check, make sure they always have it. So let's go over that. So what you have right now is what I call a staple for a healthy kitchen. So in here, you have the urban spices. I really think these are the basic herb and spices that every group home should have. Of course, the salt and pepper, garlic powder, and the onion powder. Those are really the basic ones. Things are like, bay leaves is really good for the soup. Basil, it's also good for pasta. Cayenne pepper gives a little bit of kick when you want to making some kind of a Mexican dish. Cinnamon is usually really good for dessert. Chili, cumin are usually really good for Latino dishes like enchilada or a beef asada, chicken asada. Curry powder is really a fragrant, a mix of herb, consists of turmeric, consists of cumin, just a really aromatic herb that is really good. Ginger is good for Asian dishes. Nutmeg, like cinnamon, is really good for dessert. Oregano, parsley are really good for pasta dishes. Paprika, rosemary, thyme, Italian seasoning are really usually good for meat dishes. Taco seasoning obviously is really good for taco. And again, vanilla extract is really good for your dessert. Now let's look at some of the pantry basic. Obviously, you always want to make sure you have the egg, and the milk, and the flour. Okay, and I think baking powder, baking soda, cornstarch with some sugar and honey. Those are really like the basic that allows you to make some baking goods. Okay, but if you say, you know what, I want to cheat a little bit, it's nice to have a whole grain pancake mix so that you can make a pancake more readily. But you don't really have to have it. If you have the flour, you have the baking, you have the baking powder, you have sugar, you really can make a lot of many different baked goods. Let's look at the oil for a second and the condiments. I really like olive oil and canola oil as consists of the all-purpose oil. Olive oil is really good to make salad dressing. Canola oil is really good for baking if you don't want the flavor. But again, I really think these are all really good oil to have. It's just that olive oil has more of a flavor. So if you want to bake something, maybe canola oil is a better option. If you want to cut down the fat, definitely use the spray so that you just coat the dishes so that it won't stick to the pan or so I think that comes very handy. Vinegar, it's also very handy when it comes to baking. Mayonnaise, if you can, try to buy the light one or olive oil base. You have the Dijon mustard, jam, maple syrup, some margarine, dressings. If you have a client who are overweight, always definitely use the light ones. Ketchup, barbecue sauce are really, really come in very handy. Worcestershire sauce comes really handy for making stew dishes. Now here also some what I call some shelf staple snacks. Your fruit cup, your applesauce, your dry fruit if it's appropriate for some client. If your client has impaired chewing ability, you want something that's very moist, so dry fruit would not be a good option. However, if your client has a good chewing ability, dry fruit is an excellent snack. Carbohydrate, there's a lot of things you can buy from the store that are shelf stable and not too expensive. So here are some ideas: the Fig Newton, the graham cracker, the whole grain cracker, the breakfast bar. Those are really nice and soft. Those come really, really good for our clients who many of them have chewing impairment. Cottage cheese is a really good snack to mix with fruit. Same as your string cheese, same with your individual yogurt. Again, when you providing these snacks, make sure that you always have some kind of fruits and vegetable, and you can pair that with some dairy products. Vegetable, like I said, if a client have no impaired chewing ability, then you can give them fresh. But if someone has missing teeth or eat very fast, it's best to have some cooked vegetable with dressing, with guacamole, with hummus as a dip. Okay, so this is just a little quick hint on what are some of the basic pantry lists that you should have. Now I wanted to go over a sample of a menu, and let's highlight some of the important things that you need to remember. So right in front of you, you should be seeing a menu. So let's go over this. So this is in front of you, this is a summer menu. So what that means that you usually have some more cold item for lunch, and then the home could be, it's very specific. It could be the each group home's name, and then this is the date. So what that means is that, if you can see that this is a sort of a 4-week cycle menu. So look at the first one is June 28th, and the next time around that the same menu appears on the calendar is July 26th. So it's a 4-week cycle. It repeats itself every 4 weeks. So this menu is a more generic menu. We have breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. Obviously, some client could have also snack in between meal as well. Okay, so let's look at the breakfast. This is a very simple breakfast menu. Basic, it means that, mostly Monday through Thursday, it's all mostly cereal. It's meant to just make that easier. And I actually think it's also good to, promote a healthier diet. So your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is generally a little bit heavier. So in this one, you have the breakfast skillet, you have the egg sandwiches, you also have the pancake. Some individual home may have slightly different menu based on their feedback to the dietitian. So this is just meant to kind of give you an example. So you notice that, you have the grain, you have the dairy, and you also have the fruit, and also you have some vegetables on Sunday and Saturdays. Lunch, okay, so usually it's again, it's usually cold dishes, and again, if some home they want to have more hot food, that could be something that could be communicated to your own dietitian. So in this one, this is just a generic one. As you can see that, it has like 3 cold dishes: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are sort of hot dishes. Notice that, you have the hot veggie or salad. So if someone who cannot chew, maybe it's better to give them hot vegetable instead of salads. Okay, and those portion sizes are sort of not, again, as a generic one for a regular diet. If someone who needs to have a more portion, some people who need to cut down the portion, that could be something that could be easily modified by your own dietitians. Let's look at dinner too. So we have some special theme here. You have the soul food Sunday, okay, and you have a fish, and then chicken, hamburger, chili mac, and then Friday is what we call the choice night, where staff need to make things that are based on their own feedback from the clients, and it could be something to utilize a leftover. Some home they like to order takeout. So this is just give you a little bit more flexibility here. And then you have the beef stew on Saturday. So notice a couple of things. Is that the starch is usually half cup, like you said, and there's different kind of starch. There's the what I call the starchy vegetable, like black-eyed peas, cottage, or it could be like grain, like rice or bread, or it could be mashed potato or pasta. Okay, and then your vegetable, again, it could be some hot, or it could be cold, like a salad, but it really depends on your client's ability to chew. Fruit's always good to be served every meal as well. But if a person who needs to be monitored for their portion sizes, need to cut down the calorie, maybe this fruit parts usually can be skipped. Okay, again, I also emphasize, having some kind of fluid to go with the meal. Water and milk are probably your best option. You can have like 4 ounce each, or you can have 6 ounce, 6 ounce each, depends on, the client's body size. Okay. So this is just an example of a week 1 menu. Now with this menu, notice that there's some of them have a page number. So this page number should coincide with the recipe book, the cookbook that come with this menu. Okay, and see here, beef stew, page 379. So each group home should have its own recipe book that corresponds to this page number. Okay, again, this is a generic menu. Any specific request that can also be made by talking to your own dietitian. All right. So, so I hope that this menu give you a good idea. What a good menu looks like. And I really like to emphasize, nothing is set in stone. The clients have certain preferences, and then the staff who work with the client knows their preferences. And sometimes there's also the time restraint. So this is provide the basic guideline, the basic blueprint, and staff is very encouraged to review with the dietitian and develop or fine-tune it to meet that group home specific need. So a menu sets the guideline, but then what are the shopping lists that correspond to the menu is something that I want to go over next. Like I said, everything is a domino effect. So if dietitian plan the menu, the next person need to shop according to the menu, and the person who prepared the meal also need to use what's on the shopping list. So let's take a moment and go over the specific shopping list for week 1. So what I have here, notice is week 1 groceries list. So it has some of the a different kind of fruits. I always encourage to have at least like 4 to 5 kinds of fruits per household, so that you have different choices. Avocado is really good to add to snacks, to add to your breakfast, to add to your sandwiches. So also to add some calories if you have client who need to gain some weight. The only juice I really like is orange juice. Other ones like apple juice, grape juice, just have too much sugar in there. Okay, and the orange juice, at least it has vitamins. It's very rich in vitamin C. Prune juice is usually really good for promote bowel regularities. So many group homes like to have that. Maybe like offer client like 4 ounces of prune juice in the beginning of the day, which is fine. Green onions, lime. Again, these are all probably correspond to what's needed for that week. Okay, and then again, the meat. There's the meat, and there's the dairy, and there's the egg in the column number 2. I just want to highlight here the meat choice Friday night. Remember, I mentioned earlier that Friday night is a choice night. So if you want to cook something, you need to make sure that you tell the person who's doing the shopping that, hey, Friday night I would like to prepare, beef. Can you grab me some beef steaks, for example? So you need to communicate that to the person who's doing the shopping. So the grain, again, it's also reflect on what's on the menu. I like to say that, you want to make sure you have cereal in the house, but these may not be something that you want to buy every week. So you could buy things in like a 2 pounds or 5 pounds, and then you can just stock it up for the whole entire month. Okay. Again, these miscellaneous, these are some of the things that you just want to go over, check your pantry to make sure you have it. Okay, so if it says mayonnaise, you already have mayonnaise, don't buy mayonnaise. If it says, ketchup, you already have ketchup, don't buy more ketchup. A lot of times I see some home, they have like 4 or 5 bottles of mustard or ketchup because they are not checking the pantry before they go shopping. Okay, so frozen vegetables and then the canned jar, these are all based on what's needed for the menu. But things like, for example, you know, broccoli, cauliflower, or cauliflower mixed vegetable. These are all mixed vegetables. I usually like to have because they are more nutrient dense. They meet the vitamin C, vitamin A requirement. Okay. All right, so I hope that this gives you an overview about the menu. Like I said, you know, the reason why the licensing requires all the group home to have a menu because it really makes staff's life a lot easier, and it also helps to promote better balance, better nutrition, and more variety. Everything is on the menu. It's not set in stone. Be sure to communicate with your designated dietitian for any change that you feel is necessary. All right. Thank you so much.